You open your eyes, but there is no clock beside you. There is no locked door, no alarm system, and no electricity. The sun is setting behind the distant mountains, and the temperature is rapidly dropping. Somewhere in the tall grass, a massive predator is waking up, and it can see perfectly in the dark. For most of human history, the night was not a time for peaceful rest. It was the most dangerous time of the day. And strangely, the strategies your ancestors used to survive it are exactly why you might struggle to fall asleep tonight. If we were slower, weaker, and had worse night vision than almost every apex predator on the planet, what did early humans actually do when the sun went down? How do we survive the prehistoric night without getting eaten? If you picture an ancient night, you probably imagine a group of shivering cavemen huddled deep inside a dark cavern, hiding from saber-toothed cats until dawn. It's a common image, reinforced by countless movies and cartoons. But it's mostly wrong. For one, deep caves were actually terrible places to sleep. They were damp, freezing, completely dark, and often already occupied by apex predators. Paleontologists have found caves filled with the massive bones of giant cave bears and cave hyenas, creatures that would easily overpower a human in the dark. Instead of wandering into the dangerous depths, our ancestors stayed near the entrance or under overhanging rock shelters. They didn't conquer the night by hiding in the dark. They conquered it by bringing the light with them. Before the mastery of fire, our earliest ancestors, like Australopithecus, likely slept high up in the branches of trees, much like modern chimpanzees and orangutans. It kept them safe from ground-dwelling predators, but tree sleeping came with a massive evolutionary cost. It prevented them from getting deep, restorative REM sleep. You can't fall completely unconscious if you have to balance on a branch or grip a vine to keep from falling out of the canopy. Everything changed when we learned to control fire. Fire became our first true shelter, a wall of heat and light that terrified predators and kept freezing temperatures away. It allowed us to move our beds from the trees down to the ground. And once we slept on the ground, we could finally fall into deep, uninterrupted REM sleep, which played a massive role in growing our large, complex brains. But fire alone wasn't enough. A fire can die out, and predators are incredibly patient. So, early humans developed a biological security system that you might still carry in your DNA today. It's called the Sentinel Hypothesis. When researchers studied the sleep patterns of modern hunter-gatherer tribes, like the Hadza people in Tanzania, they discovered something incredible. In a group of 30 people, there was almost never a moment when everyone was asleep at the same time. Over a period of 3 weeks of observation, there were only 18 minutes when the entire tribe was completely unconscious. Because of natural variations in our chronotypes, meaning some people are naturally night owls and others are early birds, someone was always awake to keep watch. Imagine a typical night around the Paleolithic campfire. The group is settled near the entrance of a rock shelter. The elderly members, who naturally wake up early in the night, are tending the flames. The teenagers and young adults, the natural night owls, are staying up late, talking and scanning the darkness. The children are safely asleep in the center of the group. There was no official guard duty. Evolution had simply staggered our sleep schedules so the tribe was never unprotected. But staying awake during the dark hours meant humans had extra time on their hands. For the first time in evolutionary history, the day didn't end when the sun went down. This created a new period of time that was too dark for hunting or foraging, but too early for sleep. The darkness just beyond the firelight was terrifying. Every snap of a twig could be a predator. To cope with the fear and pass the time, humans started talking. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner studied the conversations of the Jew/Hoansi Bushmen and found that daytime conversations were mostly about work, food, and complaints. But at night, around the fire, the conversation shifted. They talked about the spirit world. They told stories about distant people, sang songs, and shared myths. The night didn't just test our physical survival. It forced us to invent culture. The campfire became the first classroom, the first theater, and the first religious temple. It was during the dangerous, terrifying night that we truly became human. So, the next time you find yourself lying awake at 3 a.m., unable to sleep, and overthinking every conversation you've ever had, don't be too angry at your brain. You aren't broken. You might just be the designated sentinel for your tribe, biologically programmed to keep watch for saber-toothed cats that no longer exist. Your insomnia is an evolutionary badge of honor. It just happens to be incredibly annoying when you have an early meeting the next day. The archaeological evidence, from ash layers in ancient hearths to the sleep studies of modern tribes, proves that survival was never an individual effort. No single human could survive the prehistoric night alone. Sleep was a team sport. Today we sleep isolated in our own locked rooms, completely cut off from our group. We have comfortable mattresses and climate control, but many of us feel more anxious than our ancestors did sleeping on the dirt. We traded the safety of the tribe for the safety of a house. But our brains still crave the reassurance of the group. This is why watching a fire is so hypnotic and relaxing for us. Deep in our DNA, fire still means safety, warmth, and the presence of our people. When the sun sets tonight and the darkness creeps in, remember that you are the descendant of the humans who didn't hide from the dark. You are the descendant of the ones who lit a fire, looked into the shadows, and started telling a story.